Hi there. In this video, we are going to be going over finding percent change. Okay, let's do a couple descriptions first. Let's remind ourselves that percent literally means out of 100, per means out of, cent means 100. So a percentage description is comparing to 100. Now, percent change is a description, but it's a description of change from an original amount to a final amount. And it's expressed as a percentage. So that's the last part of this description. So it's a description of change, and the change compares an original amount to some change, and they're going to write or express that change as a percent. So my final answer is going to need to be in a percent. So it's either a percent increase or a percent decrease. So here's a fairly common instructions. Find the percent change in each situation. Round answers to the nearest tenth. So here's my situation. I'm going to find the percent change of 93 decreased to 90. And we're going to show this two different ways. I'm going to call the first way sort of just the formula way. The second way, we're going to use a proportion to get the answer. That's a little different visual approach, and each one of these has advantages and disadvantages. And we'll start with the formula. So the formula simply says this: to calculate the percent of change, so I'm just repeat this as the percent of change. To calculate this, I just need to calculate the change over the original amount. So I'm going to set up a ratio, and it's like a fraction. Ratio is a fraction. It's one way to show it. And from there, I will just, whatever it becomes, I'm going to express it as a percent. So my change in this case is going from 93 to 90. The difference between 93 and 90 is the change. And I'm going to need to divide that by the original amount. So in this case, what is the original amount? That is, where am I starting from? Well, I'm starting from 93 to go to 90, so my 93 is my original amount. You just have to pay close attention to how the wording goes, because these things can be worded in many different ways. In this case, the original amount is 93, and so that simply becomes 3 over 93. And what I'll do here is I will get on a calculator. A fraction is a division problem, so I'll divide 3 divided by 93. When I do that, I get this answer, 0.03225. So I have, put it over here, or let me just record it, 0.0322. I'll stop at that much of the number. Now this is a decimal, and I need to write this as a percentage. So how do I go from a decimal to a percent? Well, I simply take my value and I multiply it by 100. So if I take this and I multiply it by 100, I get 3.225 and some more. But remember, the instruction says round to the nearest tenth. So this right here, to the nearest tenth, here's my 10th position. In the 100th position, that's 4 or less. So this thing is going to be a change of 3.2%, and it's going to be a decrease. So notice I wrote the percentage as the correct direction of the change. So that's the formula method. The other method is kind of visual, and it works as a proportion. One thing to note, so this is approach 2. Approach 2, I'll call it Roman numeral 2. The thing to pay close attention to this is the first answer I get, I'm going to be solving in a proportion. It is not the change in percent, but it's one step away. So in this approach, we're going to set up a visual. So imagine this is like a number line. We're going to put the smaller numbers here, the larger numbers here. The numbers I put on top are my change. The numbers I put on the bottom are my percents. And we're going to use this to set up a proportion. So my smaller number was 90. My larger number was 93. The thing I need to pay close attention to again is, where do I start with? Well, I'm starting at 93, right? So I'm going from 93 to 90. So I'm comparing to 93. So this, the 93, represents a whole in this case. What I don't know is, proportionally, what is that? So this is my change, going from the 93 to the 90. And here's my percent that I'm going to calculate for this change. So this allows me to set up a cross product. And I have 93n equals to 90 times 100. It's a one-step equation, so I have to divide both sides by 93. And when I do this, I will plug it in here. I have 90 times 100 divided by 93. And when I do that, I get 96.77. If I was to round that, that would round to 90. This right here would round to 96 and 8/10. Now this is not the change in percent, but it is the value n. So I'm going to, n here is 96 and 8/10. But this is written as a percentage. It represents a percent form. I could ask the question, what would I have to add to 96 and 8/10 to get to 100? Or I can write it this way. What's the difference between 100 and 96 and 8/10? Well, if I did that subtraction, I would find out that the difference is 3 and 2/10. And this is my percent change. So by setting up the proportion, I find the proportional representation of 93 is to 100 as n is to what value. I subtract it from 100 since it's a decrease, and the difference is 3 and 2/10%, and that is my change, which conveniently, and I know it's a decrease because of the language of the problem, and you can see it does match what we had before. Two different approaches. The advantage of the first approach is the answer I get is the percent change. The disadvantage is I have to walk through and figure out what is this as a percent. Here, the nice thing about this method is the value I get when I solve the proportion, and its difference from 100 does give me the percent. And I don't have to bother calculating, changing a fraction or a decimal to a percent because it's already written in terms of percent. Hope this helps. You guys just go practice and you will soon be masters of it yourself. Have a nice day.